Hello, welcome, welcome. I am here for the Yarnspinnerstales teach-in and cocktail hour. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that at the very beginning while there's nobody here except us drinkers. I have always, not always, and when I retired, it was sort of like, well, I'd like to have a cocktail. And I got really interested in making them. And so I, of course, went to the books, like I always do. And we have a picture right here of tonight's book that I used. It's called Cool Cocktails. It's by Ben Reed. And it's a pretty modern book as far as cocktails. But what we have tonight, not that one, it's called the French 75. And it is gin and basically lemon juice and champagne. So we're celebrating tonight. We're celebrating absolutely nothing other than it's 7 o'clock in the evening. And I will show you my pretty glass of French 57. As opposed to Heinz 57. How is everybody tonight? We have had storms, but not bad. Just rumble, and a little bit of rain. It has rained off and on all day today. In fact, I went out early this morning while it was still cool because we have lots of heat. And I was going to weed something. There's always something that needs weeding, and after discussing it with hubby, he's like, I think you better go do the tomato patch. So went over there and I sat down on my garden bench and I started pulling weeds, working all around the bed, and 5 minutes later it started sprinkling. And he's over weeding another bed and it's like, oh well, never mind, I'm just going to stay out in the rain. And it rained the whole time I was out there. And then I was almost done and it started raining harder. And I'm like, okay, let me finish. And I get everything all put up and I start walking the 5 minutes that it takes me to walk back to the house, and it poured rain. I was soaking wet. I was going to take a shower anyway, but I could have showered out there, I'll tell you, because I was that hard of a rain. So that's how my morning started. After that, it got lots better. I had my work all done. I got to sit and relax and do some reading on Ravelry and just in general play with some of my fiber here, getting ready to do this tonight. And it was really a very nice day to stay inside because it rained off and on then for the rest of the day. Kind of half waiting to see if somebody joins us. Look, that wasn't good on the mic. Speaking of the mic, I'm going to move it down. I'm done typing. Possibly you can hear me better now. One of the things I like about these videos for Twitch and everything is they will stay around. And so I have noticed that people do come and watch them. It tells me how many people have viewed it. Not who, but how many. And I'm happy to see that because that's why I'm doing them. I want people to see them. Doesn't necessarily have to be right now while I'm doing it, although I feel a little strange sitting here talking to myself. I shouldn't. After 13 years of podcasting, I did nothing but sit here and talk to myself. But for some reason, it's different when you're looking at a camera and you see a picture of yourself. It feels pretty little different to be talking to yourself. I have a lot that I want to talk to you about tonight, show you. And the first thing is, as I said there on the introduction in the chat, about a blending board. And I thought I'd talk a little bit about why I got involved in the blending board. I see part of the problem. I started early. I started 5 minutes early, so let me chat just a little bit more before I get going here because it just now turned 7 o'clock, and I don't know. I guess I was in a hurry to get started, but that's all right. I have found watching the videos afterwards that sometimes the first part gets cut off, and sometimes it can't be highlighted. It it seems to give the front and end parts as least important, and the part in between, in the middle, the most important. The way Twitch works is that it'll save the whole video for a couple weeks, but what I can do is go in and make 1 minute, what they call clips, and I've been trying to do that when I think I have something that somebody might want to see how to do, like maybe a card with a hand card or something like that. So anyway, those clips are there. They're scattered. I mean, there's some order to them. Hello, Fiber Mage. Yeah, I know. I got some pretty stuff sitting there, don't I? Welcome. I'm glad you joined me. That's real interesting because my little viewer thing says there's nobody here, so you have your invisibility cloak on or something. It doesn't show you, but I see your post. Oh, anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, Twitch, and the fact that it allows me to save those 1 minute clips, and I am gradually going to be building a library of different techniques by putting those 1 minute clips on, and they will never go away. And so that's really part of my goal, even though I know that the long video will only stay for a little bit, but the rest of those clips should stay forever and people can see what we've been doing. Anyway, let's see what we can get into here. I was going to start talking about the blending board, but the reason I have this fiber here, and the fiber is from Fellview Fibers, she has an Etsy store, is because this is what intrigued me to look into and learn about a blending board. I bought these just going online, looking at fiber and going, wow, how'd she do that? Oh, I want to know how that spins. Oh, Fiber Mage, really? You upload your old videos to YouTube as private? Oh, I'll look into that. Does it take long to upload them? I saw the export button when I was on the video editor here, and that's really a cool idea. Thank you. I have so much to learn about this live streaming. I'm such a newbie, and I cannot figure out how to get any kind of link to my Discord page connected with this. There's just things that I'm still fiddling with and trying to learn. But the Discord page isn't real active anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Thank you, Fiber Mage. I will look into that. I love archiving stuff. I'm an archiver at heart, way more than just videos. I mean, I love to keep all sorts of things and history of our family and that kind of stuff. So that will help a lot. You finally popped up as a viewer, so I guess you settled in for the... Are you drinking tonight? Did you bring something for the... I am having what's called a French 57. It is gin and champagne, and I encourage people to join me. I know, I had never spun Rologs before either, so I'm back there looking online, and I'm going, I wonder how you even spin them. And I get the fiber, and I'm going, this is beautiful. I don't know how I'm going to spin them. I ordered 2 different colorways, and I have spun one. All right. I don't encourage anybody otherwise. If they don't want to drink, that's fine. So, I had never spun them until I went ahead and spun the one. And I did exactly what seems right. Is just start pulling and drafting from the end. And the one I spun was called Goldfinch, and it was so pretty. It was golds, yellows, browns. It was after the bird, and I loved the yarn the way it came out. I did chain ply it to kind of keep the colors. It had more color changes in it than this one did. This one will probably have so much of the red, I probably can go ahead and two ply it. But I may never spin it because it has been stored in my box of precious fibers for quite a while, my precious, and it's just, I loved it so much. But this is what started me thinking about the blending board, because I looked at that and I said, how did she do that? And so I was like, okay, we're going to figure this out. And I started going to fiber fairs. This was a couple years ago, and seeing a few people having these kind of roll-logs. And I was like, they were selling them, and I was like, I'm not going to buy any right now. I've got these two, and but I didn't see anybody making any until maybe a year and a half ago, and I saw a lady that was actually sitting just doing it. Now I wasn't sitting down with her or doing anything, and I went home. I saw also at the woolery, I saw a blending board and what they were selling for the blending board. And I went home and I talked to my husband and I said, I want to make one. Can we do this? And I told him that I knew how to buy the drum carder cloth, and I told him that I could, if he could figure out how to tack it onto a board, I thought maybe we could figure this all out. And so we did. Still didn't know how to really use it. But this is the blending board we made. Make sure I got my teeth going the right way. He put it on a nice piece of wood. I bought this on, on the internet. I forget who I bought it from. And he stapled it to that. And for quite a while, that's all I had, was this blending board without, just with the unfinished back. The front was finished, but the unfinished back. And I worked with it for a while, and I was getting these really fat, fluffy roll-locks, because all I was doing was taking and going like this, I just rolling them up off there, and they were like that. I mean, they were just big old fat, and I knew that wasn't what I had bought from Fellview Fibers. I knew that wasn't the right thing. And then I went to another fiber fair 6 months later after I had tried it one time, and I saw somebody sitting there on a bench, and she was working with it. And I said, do you mind if I sit down and watch you a little bit? And she said, oh, come on. And she's the one that taught me how you really have to do it. And that's what I'm going to show you tonight, how you can get these really nice compacted roll-logs like I just showed you that they're selling. Now, I don't know how Fellview Fibers gets her length, because I'm only going to get this length, right? And in fact, I'll show you what I have here, because I made some ahead of time. These are, I got from one filling of the blending board, and these are the two. I'm trying to get them in the, let me put this back down. I'm trying to get these in the camera here. These two are as tight as they come off from the blending board. And this one was a third one where I've actually split it in half and pre-drafted this one a little bit. You can see right there where it's just drafting out. So you don't, I mean, this is really good to store like this, but it's not going to hurt if you play with them and mess with them a little bit, because eventually you are going to draft them out in order to spin them. So that's what we're going to make some more of tonight. I think I might be able to, I don't know, my blending board might be in the way. The fiber that we're using, you're not doing anything, is alpaca, a nice little fawn color. This is Angora that I have dyed blue. I no longer have Angora bunnies, but I have Angora fiber that has been around for as long as I had the rabbits, and I periodically use it. I don't use it very much, and I'll use it for projects like this every once in a while. And this is a gray wool that has a little bit of blue overdying, and I'm only really putting that in to kind of add a little bit of a base for the shorter fibers. The alpaca is pretty good length. It's pretty nice. So the alpaca and the wool are kind of holding the Angora in. The only problem with the Angora is I do have a lot of, that's just the nature of Angora. I have some neps in there, and they will pop up and be kind of a little bit bulky. And you can see right here one's coming off. So they'll want to come off. Okay, so I've got my bag of fiber down here. Oh, and the best bit, the sparkly bit. I have some Angelina. This is, I don't know, I guess it's called silver ice. That's what it's called, silver ice. Now, just like any cards, you got your teeth going one way or the other, so you want your teeth pointing up. And you notice I only have it attached on the side. I don't have it attached on the top, partly because there wasn't really a lot of room. When they cut that card, that cloth, you can see down here there's nothing. We really can't. And it doesn't pay to try and glue it or anything like that, because your tension is all this way, and so you just need it not moving right here. The carding cloth was, I believe, around $30, $30 to $35 for this. It's been 5 years ago, maybe not, maybe 4 years ago. Shouldn't have changed too much, and the cost varies based on how many teeth you have, and I really just kind of hit and miss with it. I think you can buy different number of teeth per square inch, but I thought it would be best to have as many as I could have and still afford it, and so the cost will vary with that too. I have a great big huge bag of alpaca. I have a whole bunch of the alpaca, and I am going to put it just periodically on here. You load the whole blending board, and you get usually 2 really good and a third one that might not be as good, because you get up towards the top and it's kind of, and then I have some of this has already been worked with. You end up cleaning your card off, and you have some that is worked with, but this is what it looks like when the Angora, let me pull this out. So this has already been blended, the Angora and the wool. You can see the gray in there and the Angora, and the reason this is happening this way is because I had made bats of this wool and Angora and didn't like them. And so I just set the bats, broke them up, and I've been using them for this. I've already spun one little skein of yarn. I have no plan here on how, and I always tend to overload it. Well, maybe I need a little bit. I need a little bit more at the bottom. Now, what's going to happen is it is going to work its way down to the bottom, so let's start with that. Now, the other thing you need, 2 things you need, along with this blending board, is, this is by Staunch, and truly what this is for, it's for your drum carder smoothing tool. So when your big wheel is going around, you're just going like this on it with this and smoothing that bat. That's what this is. It's one card. It doesn't have a mate. It's just one card. And they use these also on the blending boards. And we're gonna, I hope I don't hit my mic here, but we're just gonna start combing this in. I try not to go all the way to the top, but maybe an inch down. Let's see. Yeah, you can see pretty good here. I forgot my Angelina, but I put it in after I get all this smoothed in. And you see I can just spread it around. Get those colors blended. Kind of looks like watercolor painting, doesn't it? Now let's put a little bit of Angelina on there. Like sprinkled. I'm going to clean my card out. Put it back on the blending board. There's a chunk I don't like. A little bit more alpaca on it. Looks like it's looking pretty blue. I'm going to get some more white on there. Now I could make this easier in a way by working with already established bats. I could blend up everything on my big drum carder and then take and break that bat up and roll off the roll log. So it's just for the sake of purity here, I'm starting with the fiber so everybody can see. And as you can see, a lot comes off. As you work, you have to just kind of keep working it in until it's pretty full. You don't want it hanging out of the sides and that much, but you do want it hanging out at the bottom. That's how you're going to get it started rolling on the roll log. Alright, I think I like that. Sleeveland. Yeah. I'm glad you're watching though. That's good. I'm just glad you're here. Oh, I got some that didn't card. Okay, now you see I've started it down here, and this is the magic wand. This comes when you buy a blending board. Okay, you get one of these, but I had to make it because, and actually hubby did a lot of it, but this is a dowel. That's all it is. And he made me two and just sanded like crazy. It is not finished. It doesn't have any finish on it, but it's very, very smooth. All right, so see down here I have little bits sticking up, and I am starting them by just rolling them on the dowel. Pull the dowel down and roll the dowel. And if you can see, they're tightening up right here. Not a lot, but they're starting to tighten up. And the more you come down and straighten those fibers and keep a little bit of tension on there while you're rolling up, you get this nice, really tightly wrapped roll log. Now it looks like I got a little bit of Angora right here that's chunking. I can see it pulling out though, so as long as it does that. Yeah, see, there's the chunk right there. Hi! Hello, Daisy Lane. You finally caught a live show. I love my podcast. I just said your podcast. I can't stay long though because I need it out in the barn, so we'll be going soon. It's fine. I'm so glad you stopped by, and I love hearing from listeners. That's wonderful. Do you have sheep? What do you have in the barn? Is it horses? Let me know. I am doing a blending board project with alpaca, Angora, and wool, dyed wool. Dyed Angora and dyed wool, natural colored alpaca. Okay, so you catch the drift here, and you're not going to go all the way up. You're going to do probably just about a third. And do this back and forth bit for a while, pulling on it as tight as you can, smoothing it out, rolling up just a little bit more, catching more fiber. And that's how you do it. Then, when you get to that point, you just go ahead and lift it up, pull it off, and the other thing you have to do is tighten it around the stick. And that's important that you know which way you want to go. I am turning the stick clockwise. Okay. Yes, clockwise. Okay. And that you can see right there, it's getting tighter. I am squeezing very hard as I go down that stick. And that is your final step towards a real tight row log. Finch sheep, Angora goats, and alpacas. Love it. Fiber flocks. That's great, Daisy. That is just great. So there it is. It's all nice and tight, and you can't spin it from there, so you got to get it off. And that involves a little bit of will. You can start back here, and you just push. That's why the stick has to be real smooth. I'm also twisting the stick, and the fact that it bunches up like that is okay, because when it comes off, it's a pony. Now, like I said, I am not getting the big long ponies that she was getting with her whatever method she's using. I don't know if she has an automated method to do it or what, but her ponies are a lot thicker, and you can see very long. But that's alright. I don't mind having the little ones. They store well. Now we got to start another one. And I'm going to clean this off a little bit. It goes over here so I can use it again. And I need to start this again. I will, first of all, smooth it out, bring it down, and you can see it's making a starting end for me. Get that Angelina up there a little bit. We'll do it again. Get it started. Pretty cool, isn't it? And again, I'm not going to go all the way to the top. You can see it after I get up here, it gets really thick, and that's really my sign to go ahead and work this one to as much as I want to. Oh, there's a little bit of hay. Always with alpaca. because then I can spread this down to where I can get it. So there we got it, pretty tight. And again, I'm just gonna rotate it. Hello everybody, I am working on a blending board, as it says up there. I am using alpaca fiber, a dyed Angora, which is the blue, and a brown gray color wool, which you don't see too much of, and it's mixed in with the Angora. And this is the second row log that I have pulled off of one filling of this blending board. I have it all nice and smoothed out, and now I have to slide it off. Just rotate it a little bit. Gotta be pretty insistent about it. I did one today as a practice, and we actually made two of these dowel, and that one had gotten rough because the grain opened up with the humidity, and I couldn't get that roll log off for nothing. I had to just peel it off and start over. That's why I practice before I get online and do this. This one's a little tight too. It's getting there. Just keep turning. Maybe. Maybe not. There it goes. I feel it going. Alright. There we go. That one's kind of thick right there. Here we go. And like I said, in order to spin it, you're just going to take them and draft them out, just like that. I don't pre-draft though, I draft while I'm spinning. Now, this last one is hit and miss, whether I get something good. There is a lot of fiber up there, so I'm just going to see what comes off. I've got Angora stuck down in here. That's why I'm going to bring it up. And I'm starting just a little heavier than I did down in the beginning. Working actually pretty good. I'm going to get pretty good roll log. There's a fair amount of fiber up there. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way. This is going to be hard to make the 1 minute clip. Very long, involved process. That is the problem with those clips only being 1 minute. It's a good idea for teaching and having it, they never go away, so it's a good idea for teaching, but I don't like the minute. I have to do multiples. Just kind of straightening out the outside there, combing it. Okay. Maybe I won't roll this one quite so tight. Here we go. Oh, little nub. Never say spinning is an exercise. I'm sweating. Oh wait, I'm glistening. Women, southern women don't sweat. Here, I didn't think I attached that one to it. That's just discouraging. It's not going to come off. I think I'm weeded too much this morning. Lost the strength of my hands. Okay, we may do that one off camera. Oh, blooper. It is not moving at all. That's interesting. I wonder if it is because my hands are so sweaty. Probably is. Alright. I will deal with that later. And I am not going to do another whole one because I want to keep the show tonight at around an hour. And it would be an hour to do a whole nother one. So we're going to clean. Turn it over. Clean the fiber out. And call it quits. And that really bugs me that that won't come off. Oh, shoot. I'll have to spin it off the stick. That is the blending board. And this is the fiber. All right. I need a drink and a break after that. Salute. So now I have something to investigate. Why do Rologs not come off? I wonder if I need to sand that dowel some more. Or maybe even shellac it. We're going to talk about silk hankies now. That's the second thing on the agenda. And I have some right here. I did not dye these. I bought these. We have 3 different colors. This was a local dyer, Hedera Fibers. I don't know that he's actually doing anything right now, but he had a booth one time when I went to the fiber fair, and I bought these. I have dyed silk hankies in the past. It takes a special acid, not acid dye, but a special dye to work with silk. I love these colors. Don't you love them? Look at the shine. Look at this camera. Yeah, there we go. I mean, this is just almost black. And this one is gorgeous. Variations. So to demonstrate, I had decided that I would take the least pretty one. Although I love the greens. It's very nice. Very nice greens. Greens and grays. So that's what a silk hanky looks like when you buy it. And they will have multiples. And you need to look at your edges and see how many you have. You're going to have more than you think. Because they are deceiving in being attached. But this one has 3. I think he was counting and he put 4 on there. This one has 3. And I don't know if you know how silk hankies are made, but they're basically stretching cocoons out on a frame. And so you have very, thick and thin areas. You do not get nice solid silk like you would with a true silk hanky, or a silk scarf or something like that. So the first thing you want to do is peel one off. Find your edge and follow it around. Am I on the camera there? Yeah. On your edge only. Don't worry about the middle. Just loosen your edge all the way around. Make sure you're just getting one. It's going to want to stick to itself really bad. It's going to want to stick to you. Another reason I shouldn't have probably gardened this morning. Okay, see there? See? It just came right off. There's my other 2 left. I'll set those aside. It's still stuck to it. It's alright. Now I have a really thin silk. See right through it. And what you want to do is straighten it out first along the edges. See, just don't draft it yet. Just straighten all the way around your edge. Get it kind of unkinked and going the same way, and a little bit together as a foundation. And then we have a really thick area right here. You kind of want to be aware of that too, because you're going to have to work that out. Alright, so I got it nice, straightened out, flattened out. I'm not sure the white was the best to work with here, and now I'm going to take each side and pull. And I'm going to stop as soon as I feel the tension of that side. I'm not going to pull it apart or anything, just going to pull. Put it the other way. So see, I have a rectangle now. Now I'm going to make it a square again by pulling on the other 2 sides. And I have one thin side and one thick side. But I'm going to stop when I can feel that outer boundary in each hand. Okay? I'm going to keep doing that each side, straightening until I feel the boundary. And you can see it's just getting longer, bigger, thinner. I have one thick area right there. I'll deal with that in a little bit. And eventually, now I am pulling against the outside now, because now you can see it almost looks like it's empty in the middle. And so I'm just going to keep pulling on the 2 sides, straightening out the edges like that. What it's doing is aligning all those fibers that were in the middle and putting it someplace along your boundary. Now, normally I want it to all look the same. Let me bring this up here so that you can see that it's almost like drafted fiber, right? It's pretty much the same with the exception of this right here. So this, I'm going to work on a little bit by itself. Unfortunately, silk has I can't pull that. It has a really long staple. It also has a nub, just like a sheep. It has a shortcut. Now I'm getting it to pull a little bit. It's thinning a little bit there. But I have to have my hands further than the table in order to get that to pull and thin. Okay, now I'm going to break it. I'm going to just pick a place and break that. And I am going to start at that end. I'm going to start at the other end here. And put that thick part at the end, the very last. So I have my end, and this is where it's just like you're used to drafting wool, except you're going to hold your hands way far apart. And you have to decide where and how thin you want it, okay? Because it isn't always gonna. And that's just kind of how thin it's going to go is kind of like you can tell if you pull more, it'll pull apart, and you don't want to pull apart. That's the only way you can really tell. So I am holding my hands the width of this table, basically, in order to draft and pull this thinner. And when I get into a thicker area, I have to work on it a little bit longer by holding with my left hand still, but moving my right hand and pulling more out, just to help thin that out a little bit. Once you have it at this point, it's not always necessary to have your hands that far apart. I have just a little bit of junk that is really thick from the edge. I just took that out. Now this is another thicker area, so I'm just going to pull on that, thin it out a little bit. See, you can tell it's getting lots easier. I almost took it apart there. Getting lots easier to. And at the end here, it's already thin. So now this is what it looks like. That's what we got. And some of it is pretty compacted, and some of it is pretty. And when you spin, you're going to immediately put your twist into that and go on. When this, you might be drafting a little more. You just have to play it by ear when you're spinning it. Or you can draft it some more if you want. But the main problem is, how do you store it without getting it stuck all to itself and making a big old mess? And this is what I do. I take a card. I've got one done here, which is stuck to the other silk. And that's what I do. I just wrap it on the card and then store those cards. I have a silk that wants to live over here. So let me cut a notch. You can label this if you're going to be putting it away and not spinning it right away. Be wise to label it. I have the end stuck in a notch. It's going to get wrapped over. And I just very carefully. Now some people make a nest out of it. I used to. But I got to the point where I like doing it this way. I'm probably not working under the camera. It's kind of hard to work under the camera. You could overlap it. It's not going to be that bad. It'll come off. You can roll it off into a ball if you want. But I tend to work off of these cards and just take a little bit off and spin it. And there you go. Bent the card a little bit, but that's not bad. That's not bad. Now, what do we do with this now that we have it ready to spin? Well, I would not spin this by itself, and I would always be probably putting it with something else, but it doesn't say you can't put it with other silk. This is what I have here. I have lots of colors. This is recycled sari silk. And to be honest with you, I probably would use this, the white. I wonder if I'll find an end in this. It's nothing but fiber. This I would strip down and draft out gently. And I would do the two laying together and spin them for a single. So, and then probably apply those. That's if I really wanted 100% silk, which I very rarely spin. It's just, I could. I intend probably to do some with these pretty colors. But this sari silk is short and it's nubby. And it's pretty good to mix with a silk hanky because they are also very nubby and are going to make a bumpy yarn no matter what you do. The other thing is to spin it with a very nice soft wool, like a superfine merino or something like that. If you do that, you want to make sure that you can keep your ratio of wool to silk almost equal. What I'm trying to say is you don't want to bury your silk because the wool tends to puff, and so you don't want to have a 2-to-1 ratio of wool to silk. You want it very close, or maybe just a little bit less wool if you want to see the silk. But that's what you could do with the silk hanky. Aren't these pretty colors? Woohoo! Yeah, hot pink. So much fiber. So low. I love this blue. That's my favorite. Let's see, does that go with any of these? Not really. Maybe this one. That might work. That pop of red with that color would be pretty nice. And then this one, being so dark red, I don't know if the green, that's just not right. Maybe. I don't think so. But these two I think I like together. I think those will be really nice. I'm going to do one more silk hanky. Going to do one of the dark ones. And then we'll close up shop, and I'm going to go sit on the porch a little bit. Maybe it has cooled off some. This one I haven't done any, so there's the fourth one right there. You can see there's 2, 3, 4. So let's take one off. Straighten the edges. wait, do I have another one there? I do. Ooh, there were 5 in there. Alright, just didn't get it off right. Yay. Bonus. Now we'll straighten the edges. This one hardly has any edge on that side. Might be a little hard to work with. Now, as you can see, I have one nice great big chunk right there of a lot of silk. Hopefully that'll spread out. And as you can see, I was going very slow on the first one. Really isn't that time consuming. The blending board is. This isn't. Okay, so I split it, draft it out. I am very glad that the Tour de France is over. I am not spinning. I haven't touched my spinning wheel. I will on Sunday, and I'll just take care of a few little details while I'm finishing this up. The next stream will be Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you go on Ravelry to the event, under community, they have events, and I always post there, and they very nicely change the time to your time zone. So it's a really good way to know the right time instead of just trying to figure it out yourself. And it goes 2 hours, and I will be spinning then. I just sit and spin and talk and enjoy a relaxing Sunday afternoon. But I am going to be doing a lot of processing of fiber between now and August, when Tour de Fleece 2.020, I think that's how I'm going to tag my stuff, 2.020. So I know it was the second one. But, oops. I'm processing basically for the, I got my other end in there. That would have been fun. I have a lot of drum carding to do. I have several fleeces that are picked and ready for the drum carder. I have been doing a lot of combing with the big combs, and that takes up the same space as my drum carder, so I have to choose one or the other. Work on a workmate that unfortunately hubby had to give up because it was just too perfect for the drum carder or the combs. It doesn't move anywhere, it's very sturdy, and it's the right height. So I work on a workmate, and if I have my combs attached there, I can't drum card. So I need to do a lot of drum carding, and then I'll have everything all ready for spinning when we start again in August. I cannot believe we're going to do it twice. I have never in my life done it twice. What are you saying, Fiber Mage here? How much did I end up spending for the turtle fleece? I spun 12 skeins of yarn, and the total yardage was 1,120 for a 2-ply, so you double that for the single, and if you count the plying like they do during Spinzilla, you add another single count, and it was like 3,000 and some yards that I spun. It was very productive. It was very productive. That's pretty, isn't it? It doesn't quite show as well with the shine and everything. My lighting it's nighttime, and my lighting is just standard lighting. So I hope you have enjoyed seeing these two things. Appreciate you sticking around, Fiber Mage. I hope you made a lot of progress on your sleeve. Thank you for your advice on the YouTube too. I will check that out. And I think I'm going to say, for our team, they didn't count the separate plies. Which team? Which team was that? They didn't really say one way or another. I was on Sock Madness, Turtle Fleece team, and I was on Team Twitch. Those are the only two teams I was on, and neither one really said anything. Yeah, Twitch. I put it in there anyway, because I don't think they're used to the spinning events as much as some of us are, like Spinzilla. And Spinzilla is all about the yardage. It's it's just all about how many yards can you spin. So they want to count everything. Thank you. I appreciate you posting. I appreciate that. Thank you, Charam. I really do. And I am going to say, until later, happy spinning. See you later.